Hello everyone, this is Howie Jacobson with the evening performance of tonight's Checkmate Method webinar. We had one this afternoon, that was a lot of fun, and we're going to do it again now. This is to promote the upcoming run of Virtual Camp Checkmate, which is an online course that starts on November 6th and runs through December 18th. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that at the very end. The idea here is I want to give you as much value as I possibly can, understanding that it's a taste of what you get for the whole thing. So if you like it and you can see the value, it would thrill me no end if you would sign up. So for those of you who don't know me, Howie Jacobson, I'm the author of 3 editions of Google AdWords for Dummies, and I have a cute little logo at the top left there, top right, and let's get right to the point. So the Google search results page is basically Scarlett O'Hara at the picnic, where Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind is the one everybody wants, and all the boys want her. And you can see on the right that they're all fawning over her. And they all look the same, they're dressed the same, they got the same facial expressions, pretty much the same hairstyles, they laugh at her jokes at the same time, they all trip over themselves to go get her dessert when she asks for dessert, and the result is she's utterly bored. She has no means by which to choose one over the other. They're all just sort of a mediocre sea of sameness. And this is the Google search results page. All the listings and ads are the beaux, these gentlemen, and the prospect is Scarlett O'Hara saying, why does everything look the same here? Why can't I make up my mind? Of course, in Gone with the Wind, it ends tragically with her picking possibly the worst man she could possibly have chosen, the snide and self-centered and abusive Rhett Butler. And we don't want that to happen to you. We want your ideal prospect to choose you. And in order to do that, you need to cut through the clutter. And you also have to be relevant and appealing while you cut through the clutter. You can't just cut through the clutter by being different. If one of these suitors had shown up in a leather jacket or 5-inch heels or naked, that certainly would have been different, but it probably wouldn't have been better. So you can't just be different. You also have to be relevant and appealing to your ideal customer. And that is the entire point of Checkmate. So today we're going to talk about what is Checkmate, how it works. We will do the live Checkmate example, thanks to Tim. And we're going to then talk about a virtual Camp Checkmate crazy good offer for a limited time, which is how you sell things like this. So part 1, Checkmate is, in the fancy terms I would use if I was trying to impress somebody, choice architecture, meaning that I'm the architect and I am going to build a structure upon which my prospect can make a choice. Because when they are on that search results page, all they're doing is they're trying to make a choice. They type in their keyword, and all of a sudden they see 10 or 20 or 25 different possibilities staring them in the face. And all of them are trying to be as good as possible, as relevant as possible. And the choice they're going to make is going to be based on those. Now, if you're like me, you go to Google, you do a search, and you click your first thing, either an ad or an organic listing, within a few seconds. And obviously, we didn't have time to read that whole page, but our subconscious did. And something about the thing we clicked with our subconscious. It sounded right. So it's not a rational choice that we make. It's something that our unconscious does before we even get a chance to read all the words on the page. So understanding this, you have to realize that ad writing is very much about empathy, about connection, about emotion, about understanding, about giving the person the promise that they most want to see and most can believe. So choice architecture here means you're looking at everything else on the page, because you're not trying to be the best thing in the whole world ever. You're just trying to be the best thing on that page. There's 4 different levels at which we do this in Checkmate. One is tactical, where we just look at the best ads and we say, well, let's just make ours a little bit better. Maybe we'll combine 2, or if they say 92, we say 110. Just to try to be a little bit better than the best ads. The second one, very, very effective with Checkmate, is emotional, where you're connecting with your prospects based on your understanding of their deeper desires, of what this search means to them. People search all the time. That's all we do. We're search machines. We're always looking in our environment or internally for ways to be happier, safer, more satisfied, more pleasured. And everything we're doing is driven by emotions. Emotions are the mechanism by which we know whether we're getting what we need or not. So when you can tie a search, even a search that seems fairly mundane, to emotion. Now the keyword we're going to talk about today is meditation, which I suspect will have a lot of emotion with it. You'll also get, if you want, to watch the afternoon webinar, which the keyword was Magento Developer. Magento is a shopping cart software system. So it's hard to imagine a keyword that has less inherent emotionality than a developer of a shopping cart. But when you listen to the recording, you'll see how we get very deeply into emotion. And it's a very useful thing to do because almost no one else on the search results page is doing it. The third way is to become the obvious choice on the page through strategic differentiation. Not just emotional, not just tweaking, but to come up with a completely different way of slicing and dicing your offer or your market. To say, I'm the one who's good for this. I work with this group of people, and maybe we'll see that when we deal with meditation, that there's lots of different types of meditators, and Tim, you can focus on one particular type and say, I'm the one for this. So maybe, meditation for people who are overweight, meditation for smokers, meditation for people who are too nervous to watch the debate. And, those are strategic ways because they actually influence how you present the business itself. And number 4 is a way to reinvent your business entirely, to take this process and realize that you may come up with better ads than your business. You say something that you know your prospects would love, but you actually don't deliver it. So at that point, you can either lie or roll back your ads to mediocrity, or you can raise your business to meet the visionary potential of the ads you created. So let's talk about keywords. Here's your searcher. They have a question. They're a dummy about something. And so what do? They go to Google, they type in some words, and a page comes up. So the question is, what are keywords? Keywords are compressed desires. So here is a scene from Star Trek IV where the crew of the Enterprise comes back to 20th century Earth, and Scotty is trying to get a computer to do something for him. And so he says, hello, computer. And the computer just sits there. It's an Apple Macintosh circa 1984. And he gets a little more impatient. Hello, computer, are you listening? Computer doesn't respond. So Dr. McCoy suggests he pick up the mouse and speak into that. Still doesn't work. Finally, the other guy says, well, just use the keyboard. And he says, the keyboard, how quaint. It makes a face. So if you think about somebody doing a search, do they really want to go to the computer and enter 3 words in the keyboard? Wouldn't they rather just explain it? Wouldn't they say, hey, Google? So I've heard from a lot of people that meditation is good for you, but I tried it a couple times. I even bought a tape. I went to a class, and it just drives me crazy. I'll sit there, I'll take 2 breaths, and then 40 minutes later I realize I'm worrying about paying the mortgage, and I'm fighting in my head with my oldest daughter, and it just doesn't make any sense. You do that. Google doesn't let you say, hello, computer, I've got a problem. Google lets you pick up the keyboard and type in a short phrase and then gives you its best guess as to what you really wanted. So the key to Checkmate is understanding that keywords are compressed desires the same way as you compress a JPEG, and you can kind of get it back, or you can zip a file and then kind of reconstitute it with an algorithm. We can start to do that with keywords and figure out what the desires really are behind those words. Then you've got the rest of the search engine page where the person who's typed in their keyword, and now they've got a bunch of things that are fighting for their attention. So what we're trying to do is create what I call game over ads. And game over ads do 3 things. The first thing is they attract your ideal customer. And your ideal customer is the one who you really get upset when you think about them going to your competition, because this is the person you you're born to serve. This is what your business does better than anybody else. And you can't serve everyone, but you can serve your ideal customer. And you want your ads to signal to that person, to that type of person, to that market segment that you're for them. Second thing you want to do is repel everybody else. So all the people who are typing that same keyword who really are not your prospect. So if it's a meditation seminar and someone wants a CD and they're only willing to pay $12 and they're not willing to travel and they're not willing to sit for 4 days, then they're not your prospect. And the third thing is to prepare the ideal prospect for the landing page so that when they get there, they go, ah, yes, I'm in the right place. So these game over ads have 3 consequences that are all very delightful. First, it increases, a game over ad increases the right click-through rate. That is the click-through rate of the people you want to come to your website. You get more of them. Second, you lower the wrong click-through rate. All the people who shouldn't be coming to your website, your ad is disqualifying them or helping them disqualify themselves, saving you money. Now, the fact of both of those in conjunction means that your website looks better. You've increased your conversion rate just because you're getting more of the right people and less of the wrong people to come to your site. So all of a sudden your numbers, your metrics, your finances are better without even changing a single thing on your website. It's just because you have a better fit, a better match between the market and the message on your website. So let's take a look now at how Checkmate works. 4 simple steps. Start with the keyword. You matrix the competition. You create an ideal customer avatar, and you exploit the gaps between the matrix and the avatar. And this will become very clear very soon. So we're going to work with ads because that's all we really have time for in a short promo webinar. But I want you to understand that Checkmate works not just with ads, but it works with landing page headlines. And I found that when you understand how to decompress a keyword, there's 3 different types of readiness that keywords signal. And your different landing page headlines, each one goes along with a different form of readiness. So there's specific, I wouldn't say formulas, but basically templates for landing page headline, how to think about which is the right headline based on the state of readiness signaled by your keyword. We can also use it for landing page design, for writing website copy, for follow-up emails, for any other online marketing media, for offline marketing. Checkmate works wherever there's competition, wherever you are not marketing in a complete vacuum, where there's somebody else competing for your prospect's attention and wallet share. That's where Checkmate works the best. So today, as I said, we're going to demo ad writing. And you guys are going to help with the writing. So we're going to start with a keyword. We're not going to use GMAT Prep because we have Tim. So basically, let me show you how it works, because we're not going to go through the whole matrix. That would take a little bit too long for a live call, and there'd be too much dead air. But basically, you've got your search results page, and you just say, okay, here's the different ads on the page, and I'm going to do a matrix. And here's the matrix. If you signed up for this through you got an email via Aweber for this webinar, you'll get or already have gotten an email with a link to download a blank matrix, which you can use as often as you like. Basically, you can see each one lists the URL. It says, is there an offer? So here for the CAP test, it's save $100, Newton.com, free exams, free trial. So the offer is what you get. And some don't have offers. Features. It says, what are the facts inherent in the product or service? $100 off. It's a 2-day event. 99% teachers, meaning that each of the teachers got 99% on their GMAT. Does the ad list a benefit? Here you can see there's only 3 benefits listed. Is there a call to action, a verb that says, that's an action verb, imperative, enroll, sign up, register, see, join, all that sort of thing? Is there a reason to believe? Is there some credibility factor baked into the ad? So here you've got Kaplan, which is a well-known brand. Down here you've got an EDU. So it's a accredited educational institution. The 99% teachers here is a reason to believe. Then is the big difference. How is this ad different from all the other ads? What's the most important thing that makes it stand out, however it does? Then is there a voice to the ad? Is there, when you read the ad in your own head, do you hear a particular voice? You could hear there's a lot of car dealers. I have Latka from Taxi. It could be a newscaster or a rock radio announcer. Here was John Houseman, the British actor who sounded very sort of snooty and superior in the old Smith Barney commercials. And, you know, is there a voice? Can you create a different voice for your ad? And finally, where's the keyword? Does it appear in the ad at all? Does it appear a lot? So now the next thing we're going to do is create an ideal customer avatar. And by avatar, I took my inspiration from the movie Avatar, where, if you haven't seen it, the basic plot is the humans are trying to colonize another planet upon which live this race called the Na'vi, these gorgeous, tall, blue, people-ish things. And they're trying to get the humans are trying to infiltrate to understand them so that they can negotiate powerfully for the mineral rights on their planet. And the hero gets into this pod and leaves his human body and assumes an avatar body. So he becomes one of the blue people. And he starts out trying to just figure out how to manipulate them to get what he wants, which is often where we start in marketing because we got to sell stuff. But as he goes through the process, he finds that he begins to understand them, begins to appreciate them, falls in love with them. And one of the symptoms of doing Checkmate well is that you fall in love with your market all over again, or at least remember and appreciate how they get helped by you. It becomes a human feeling as opposed to a simple business transaction. And so let's get started with that. Tim, I'm going to unmute you now.
Okay.
Hello, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so let's go into Google here. So can everybody see the Google search results page here for meditation seminar? Can you see it, Tim?
I can.
Okay, so we're putting you on the spot. I see 6 ads down the right from Zen Meditation Retreat, zmc.org, to Vipassana Meditation at dharma.org. So there's a lot of .orgs here, .edu. There are no .coms. Interesting. So let's start with this is a checkmate, and we'll do it very, very simply and briefly. Tell me, choose any 2 of these that you think might be worthy competitors.
Okay. The Zen Meditation Retreat and the free meditation course.
Okay, great. So the first and the fourth.
Fourth.
I guess there's 5 of them. Okay. So let's just go through this. And I'm going to invite everyone to participate by typing in the question box. So for Zen Meditation Retreat, what's the offer? Tim, you can just play along.
Sure, it's the silent week-long thing, right?
Right. It's a retreat.
Right.
The features?
Lasts a week and it's silent.
Yeah, and it's Zen.
And it's Zen.
Right. Benefits?
It doesn't say, just implied.
Right. It doesn't even imply. You have to kind of know.
Right. True.
So, and how about, is there a call to action?
No.
No. In fact, it ended 2 days ago, didn't it?
I didn't even notice that.
So, well, when you meditate, you do funny things with time. So I'm sure you could still sign up and go. Yeah, I should call them. They need an AdWords.
Maybe you can get a CD of the Silent Week.
It's actually a 34 CD set. Yeah. Okay, so no call to action, and how about anything else interesting there? We don't have to go through all of it.
No, it's short and sweet.
Short and sweet. So very zen,
it's
right?
Just, right, exactly.
Okay, so now let's take a look at the Siddha Yatan Org meditation retreats. Free meditation course, learn how to meditate easily, comprehensive meditation class. Is there what's the offer?
Learning to meditate easily.
Yeah, I would say that's a feature or maybe a benefit.
And that it's free.
I would say it's a class. Okay. So the offer is the thing you can close your eyes and picture. So it's either a course or a class. I'm not sure what the difference is, and I'm not sure why they use two different words. They also say retreat, so it's a little ambiguous what they're actually offering. So the features here are free and comprehensive, right. And the benefit easily. And it's almost a call to action. The learn is an action verb. So we could do this with all of them, and you'd get kind of a picture. This is a smaller. This is a very different word than I usually do, which is usually sort of very either e-commerce or B2B type of word where there's lots of competitors and lots of money to be made. Here, this is a little bit different. So I'm curious to see what we can squeeze from this sponge. But so far, tell me a little bit about what you would offer with a meditation retreat.
Okay. I picked these two because I have a 4-page PDF of 10 tips for people who can't meditate that I use to generate traffic. And for a retreat, I actually have a blog series about this. I would actually take people out into the wilderness for a little quiet nature retreat, as well with some mixing and healing and meditation. So it wouldn't be silent; it would be more of a mountain escape into the Adirondacks, something like that.
Okay, awesome. So someone who types in what was the keyword again? Meditation seminar.
Meditation.
Okay, so it might be interesting to look at retreat as opposed to seminar, but let's stick with what we've got right now and assume that that more people are searching for seminar, and we're going to try to convince them that an outdoor spiritual event in the Adirondacks is exactly what they're looking for. So the matrix is very useful for cleansing the palate. It's like when at least I discovered this when I started trying to write my ads or evaluate the competition. I was doing it with an agenda. Like my goal was, I need to sell stuff. I need to make money. I need to get market share. And it's good that I'm talking to a meditator, because you'll understand this at a whole different level. Those are all projections onto reality. This is me with an agenda trying to accomplish something. And when you try to accomplish something, when you have a preconceived orientation towards what is, that means you're coming with a filter. And I'm looking for specific things that I think of as weaknesses, or specific things in the other people's ads that I think of as they're dangerous. They're like the SWOT analysis. Those are threats. Oh, they have they have a great website, or they're offering something cheaper than I'm offering it. And so what I like about the matrix is it really forces you to just see what is without imposing an agenda on it, which means you get a much broader bandwidth. You get a much bigger spectrum of visible information than if you're just looking for the red stuff, like a bullfighter. So that can take you pretty far, but I found when I added the avatar work, it became much more interesting and powerful. So let's do that now. Let's bring back. So what we're going to do is create the avatar, which is the person who, your ideal customer, who should be coming to your meditation seminar / retreat in the Adirondacks. And we're going to make it up. And you're going to give the answers. I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to ask other people on the webinar who are listening in to type in your questions for understanding this avatar. And understand this is going to be a work of fiction, but you'll see where it leads. So Tim, what's your avatar's name?
Raven.
Okay. Raven or Raymond?
Raven.
Raven.
R-A-V-E-N.
Okay. Is that a woman's name?
Yes.
Okay. And how old is Raven?
45.
45. Born in 1967. Right. Okay. And I'm curious, is Raven her given name, or is it a name she's taken?
Given name.
Wow. So, how'd she get that name?
Her parents looked at her hair, and it was raven colored, and they were looking for an unusual name and something unique, and they just felt like calling her Raven.
Cool. Were they hippies a little bit?
Yeah, they really were.
All right.
Raven's just glad they didn't spell it R-Y-V-E-N.
Okay, so let's place Raven in the world. Is she in a relationship? Does she have a family status?
It's divorced, 2 children, daughters.
Divorced, 2 daughters. Okay, how old?
24 and 18.
24 and 18. How long has she been divorced?
6 years.
Years. Is she with anyone now?
No.
Okay. Does her 18-year-old live with her? Or are they both out of the house?
24-year-old is out of the house. The 18-year-old is taking a year off before she goes to college.
Okay. Is there some tension in that relationship?
No, just her daughter just wants to, just being a teenager, and her mom believes in giving her a little space. So.
All right. So where do they live? Where in the world?
Syracuse.
Syracuse, New York. Okay. And what does Raven do for a living?
She's in public relations.
For what sort of organization?
She works for a large PR firm. She writes ad copy.
Okay. Does she like it?
She likes it okay. She'd rather be a novelist, but she pays the bills.
Okay. So I'm going to open it up to other questions. Type your questions to find out more about Raven. So I'll keep going while I wait for questions to come up. So what does she like doing when she's not working? What's her favorite hobby?
Kayaking.
Kayaking. Okay. She go solo or with other people?
She has a couple of female friends she goes with.
Okay. And she likes it. Why?
She likes the quiet, and she likes spending time with her friends.
Okay. And when she was a child, what did she dream of being? A novelist?
She wanted to be a ballerina, but she almost never tells anyone.
Huh. I'll bet. And so what's kind of a dark secret that she might be holding? Something she may be ashamed of that she wouldn't want anyone to know?
She feels awkward and inadequate.
Hmm.
She tries to present a confident exterior, but she's anything but.
That sounds corrosive. Um, so John wants to know, what's her secret desire? If she could, if a fairy godmother gave her a wish, what would she wish was different?
She would love to fall in love again, but she's afraid she never will.
Tell me a little bit about how her marriage fell apart. Does she blame herself, or like deep down, does she think it's her fault, or?
No, they grew apart, and then they stopped communicating, and fighting. Things turned bitter. She would like to see herself as a very positive, loving person, and tuned with everything, and her ex just pushes her buttons, and vice versa.
Okay. And who does she admire? Some public figure that most of us would recognize.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton. Okay. And what's her favorite movie?
Sleepless in Seattle.
Okay. So now I haven't asked you anything about meditation yet. Right, because I want to kind of take things slow to establish a persona before jumping into what does she want, why does she want to meditate. So now that we've done this, it becomes a little bit more rich and subtle and colorful to now pull the lens in towards the search itself. So I invite people to post their questions about why Raven just did a search for meditation seminar. So tell me, just sort of in general, what's her interest in meditation and going to a seminar?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Okay. She her life feels stressful. She wants to relax. She wants to feel more centered and balanced, and she thinks meditation might help her do that. She's tried to meditate before, but she can't really turn her thoughts off, and so she thought maybe a seminar would help her learn.
Okay. And when you say her life's out of balance, what does that look like to her? How does she experience out of balance?
Her head is always racing. She never really kind of relaxes. And even out kayaking, it's mostly she and her friends chattering away, and she never really feels like she's quiet inside.
And so how did it come to her that was even a problem? Like most people I know don't recognize that constantly chattering is not normal. Did she have some, like was this a childhood thing where she had something that she feels like she lost, or does she have friends who she looks at and says, wow, they're so placid and wise?
She is actually at the optometrist and is waiting for her appointment, and there just picked up one of the magazines. There is an article about meditation.
Oh, okay. What magazine?
Yoga Journal.
Okay. So John wants to know what is she hiding from or afraid to face?
She's afraid she's not really lovable. She's afraid everything is her fault, but she hasn't admitted that even to herself.
Okay. And so, in the article, did it mention particular seminars?
No, it mentioned yoga retreats, which she can't really see herself doing. But she saw there was some ads for meditation seminars, and they were far away, and she just wondered if maybe there were some closer.
Okay. So I'm open up. Any more questions about Raven? So Given that, here's what I want you to do. And again, we're not going to do it the full checkmate method because there'd be too much dead air in a webinar. But you're going to write a diary entry as the avatar. You just put the keyword there, and you're going to answer 3 questions in the diary entry. And those questions are: what problem do they want to solve? What feeling do they want to get rid of? And what feeling do they want to have at the end of the search? Now, this is a little bit different from the conversation we've just had, in which you are the omniscient narrator, right? You've just told me things about Raven that she doesn't know about herself, or can't admit to herself, or doesn't see as clearly as you see them. So now instead of that omniscient narrator perspective, you're going to become Raven. And when we do this live, I even have people like sit like Raven, like assume her body. Like, how is she sitting at the computer? Is she hunched? Is she slumped? Is she tense? Is she rapid? Is she even like making typos as she types? Is she doing it on an iPad in bed? Is she in front at work with her door closed? So that really get into her body, just like the avatar, and then write 5 minutes. And I would start this one with a prompt, something like, "Dear Diary, nobody understands how," and then take it from there. So I'm going to invite everyone to write a sentence or 2 from Raven's diary right now. And I'll just stop talking for about a minute. When you have something, you can just type it into the questions box so I can see it. All right, Tim, read us what you got.
Dear Diary, no one understands how I feel. I just want to feel comfortable with myself again. I'm so stressed out, I can't seem to relax. Even wine doesn't help.
Okay, so we're getting into the feeling of the problem, and so let's quickly. What feeling do they want to have at the end of the search? If I could only.
She wants to know there's an answer. That there's a solution to this.
Right. Okay.
She's searching for a meditation seminar. They're like, go to the store and get this, and everything will be fine. I want to go to Google, look for meditation seminar, and know there it is. I can do that.
Wonderful. So a feeling of certainty and relief. So John has added, no one understands how isolated I feel. If I could only feel understood, if I could feel whole. So it sounds like she's hoping that someone else will explain her to herself. Someone who understands her better than she understands herself. can kind of show her that there is a way. There is a door that takes you out of this stuff. And it sounds like it's confusing to her because her life's pretty good. It's not like she's depressed or rageful or sick or impoverished or actually isolated, but in the midst of this sort of normal, successful, engaged life, she still feels completely isolated and adrift and uneasy. And she's looking to kind of break free from that. So what I hear the biggest metaphor that's coming to me is one of disconnection. Almost like she's in a container that she can't get out of, and she's excluded from life. And she's hoping that meditation will reconnect her to life. It seems like it's a lot more than just relaxing. So Tim, I'll give you a chance to respond to that, whether it sounds right or I'm on the wrong track or overreaching.
Yeah, I think that's right on the money. Yeah, it's not. She didn't wake up and go, "Wouldn't it be nice to learn meditation today?" Yeah, she's something isn't working. She wants it to work.
Right. And I'm curious what else she's tried.
Well, she's been in and out of counseling.
Okay.
And talking feels better, but it doesn't seem to solve anything for her.
All right, 4 years with the same therapist, $275 an hour, twice a week. Why am I doing this?
Right.
Okay.
Well-meaning friends, giving lots of advice, but
right. And ultimately, they end up depending on her more than she depends on them for support.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
All right. So let's return to our search results page. And what typically happens now is when we start looking at these very same ads, we start seeing things that we didn't see before, and we start seeing the gap between what they're offering and what Raven really needs. So now take a look at these 5 and see who's speaking to. Is anybody here speaking to Raven?
The second one a little bit.
So more creativity and reduced stress.
Right, the reduced stress part.
Okay. So, and then if we look at the organic ones, seduction of spirit, core elements of meditation, pathway to happiness, discover your purpose. They're not the pathway to happiness and discover your purpose are good phrases, but they don't exactly sound like what she's looking for. So Tim, can you do you sort of viscerally feel the gap as Raven? Become Raven and look at this page and feel like nothing's right here.
Right.
So what would you want to see?
Something about reconnecting again, something about finding comfort, something about an inner journey to find herself again.
Okay, so I'm going to ask folks, everyone on the call, everyone who can hear the sound of my voice, write an ad for Tim to advertise his meditation seminar to Raven. And by ad, I mean you can just put in a sentence, a phrase, a concept, a pitch. It doesn't have to be, 25-character headline, 35-character URL, description line 1, description line 2. Just anything. We can always massage those later. But just right now, what you would say to Raven on this page to make her feel like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So let's think about the words of the diary. That anything that resonated with you from the diary entry, you can quote right back. So I'm getting there's some coming in. Find relief and yourself. Reconnect with your original happiness. Let's see if we can come up. Relax into stress-free happiness. Good. So what I'd like to do though is think about where Raven is right now. Do these sound believable? Or do they sound like more hot air promises, pipe dreams? In this situation, I would tell Raven how she's feeling right now. Before you can start, we're already trying to jumping into solving her problem. I would like her to first feel heard and understood. That if you go to this page and you type in a keyword and you see an ad, that's what I'm feeling, as opposed to I'm going to solve your problem for you. Here's a case where I would slow down and focus on empathy rather than help. Because remember, we said her friends are always giving her advice. They're always, here's how you can be happier. So feeling disconnected, unheard, beautiful. Calm your racing mind. So that's nice, Sabrina. I love the phrase "your racing mind." That could be the headline. Is your mind racing? And that would immediately, get someone's attention for whom that was true. Feeling lost in the world, it's not your fault. Or feeling lost and disconnected, and I would follow that with something that would say like, searching outside isn't the answer. Right? That you're disconnected from without because you're disconnected from within. Mentally exhausted and need a break from it all. From Angela, you are not alone. From Eric. Tim, is anything resonating with you that you could put into a different type of ad?
Yeah, I too liked. I forgot her name, but calm your racing mind.
From Sabrina.
Right, from Sabrina. Feeling disconnected, unheard.
Terry has a nice one. Therapy results without therapy.
That is nice.
So now you can play with the idea of positioning in terms of what are her other choices. Her other choices have been expensive therapy, years of therapy. So meditation seminar, one meditation seminar equals 6 years of therapy.
What I like about Calm Your Racing Mind is that it speaks both to the symptoms and a solution at the same time.
Right. It's a promise with a problem embedded in it. Right. As opposed to relax into stress-free happiness, which it has the word stress, but it feels too positive.
Right.
Right. So overwhelmed with no relief in sight. Some people also think there is something wrong. Interesting to say to say, you know, feeling you have a feeling that something's wrong. That's a real feeling to kind of validate. That's really the word I'm looking for here. That this is a keyword where the person is, and I don't care who they are, whether Raven is correct or whether it's someone else. Someone is looking for some sort of validation before you can give them a solution. Before they're going to trust you to solve their problem, they want to know that you understand what they're going through. So the challenge here is to pick. So we've picked Raven and we've given her a whole set of characteristics. Now I want to go back to some of the specifics and see if those can trigger ideas for ads, because we're doing pretty well, but I feel like we're still circling. We haven't landed yet. So the fact that she likes Hillary Clinton, how could we leverage that fact in an ad?
Well, let's see. What does she like about Hillary Clinton? She's successful. She's
competent and calm in a stressful
trails,
world.
Yeah.
She knows who she is.
Okay.
So something about it's like manage your inner life as deftly as you manage your career. Would you like to be as calm on the inside as people think you are on the outside?
Success for your inner self.
Mm-hmm. Right. That might be a little bit cryptic, but it might not. Sabrina goes straight to, how does Hillary do it all?
I like it.
Yeah.
I have a job waiting for Sabrina.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in a bidding war. So what else? We said her favorite movie is Sleepless in Seattle. So Sleepless in Syracuse? Sleepless in your life? Stop waiting for a person to fill the hole only you can fill.
Something like before you, this is too long, but before you find others, find yourself. Something.
Yeah. So these are really tangential to the general market, but they're giving us kind of a little wiggle room into the heart of someone who could be a real person. So she works in public relations. How can we use that? So maybe her life is PR. Is your life just PR? Make it real.
Like it.
And no, that could work with a lot of people, not just someone who works in PR. When I think that she wants to write a novel, that reminds me of, I think it's a Louis Armstrong quote, like most people die with their music still inside them. Is your song not yet sung? Connect with your source. John says it was Thoreau. I knew it was a horn player. So Sabrina says,
your dreams.
can't ever take your mask off. Mask is such a powerful word. They say to someone, you're wearing a mask. If someone feels like I'm wearing a mask, that's disconnection, fakeness. I always think of a Marcel Marceau bit where he's smiling and he can't take his smile off, and the smile never leaves, but the eyes become haunted and frantic, even as the mouth is, in this grimace that hides the true self. Mask is a word. I would spend some time trying to get the word mask in there. So we put all this together, and there's a whole bunch of things you can now test. And it might not be right for the word meditation seminar. That might be a later keyword, right? And I mentioned cryptically that there's keywords that have different levels of readiness embedded in them. So in this case, that might be something they type after typing in how to meditate, can I meditate, types of meditation, how do I learn to meditate, meditation for people who can't meditate, and then they type in meditation seminar, in which case maybe these ads are absolutely perfect. It's a week-long retreat. Here's the dates. Click here to sign up. But we find that out by testing. So I just want to deal with that. So a lot of people go through this process and then they object and they say, I just made this up. It's not real. Raven doesn't exist. I made her up. Aside from the fact that somebody wrote in and said, is this my psychic reading? So, somebody resembles Raven. And it's true that we just made this up. It's like you go watch a movie, and for a while your brain thinks that you've seen reality. My brain thinks that the characters of Downton Abbey are actually mourning all week because, well, I can't tell you. I don't want to spoil it, but
yeah.
It's true. There's probably a lot of truth here. Anyway, just because we're delving into an individual that we've made up, we're tapping into our own intuition about our prospects, about ourselves, that there's a lot of truth. Secondly, if you don't go for it, you sentence yourself to mediocrity. If you don't try to be specific to someone, you end up being tepid to everyone. And you can see the ads that we saw on that page are pretty mediocre. It's like the first thing they thought of. And the third thing is AdWords is the world's best testing playground. You come up with 6, 10 ads, you just throw them up and you let the market tell you. And it shows you, here's what people are responding to. Here's what they're clicking on. This is the ad that gets people to come fill out your form to get your 10 tips. And it'll show you. So there's very little risk of being wrong. And so following this through to its logical conclusion, when you do this, when you go through this process and you discover the ads that speak just like Rhett Butler, but in a good way, that cut through the clutter and show you to be more empathetic, more emotionally connected, more strategically positioned, more money. And that money can then get plunged into a virtuous cycle where you get to spend more, so you get more traffic. You get higher up on the page. And the more traffic you get, the more variations you get to test quicker. You learn faster than your competition. And so that slight advantage of going through this process of thinking things through more deeply than your competition can lead to a cascading winner-take-all effect. And it's very typically what happens in competitive markets. That there's usually one competitor, one giant, who, and if they're smart, they leverage their advantage to maintain that, to use their closeness to their prospect to get even closer, and to use their financial advantage in conversion to increase the gap between themselves and their competitors. And by competition here, I'm speaking very specifically about competition the way it exists in nature, which is it's almost never that two species will compete in nature for the exact same niche, where one of them is going to annihilate the other. That's like an invention of humans. In nature, the way you compete is to define and refine your niche, so that you can do something better than everyone else. So you're the bird with the nose that's slightly longer and thinner, so you can get into the pollen of these flowers that others can't get into, or the pitcher plant that develops so that the ants are attracted to its scent and fall in and then decompose, and it gets the nitrogen from the ants' bodies. And what we're talking about here is competing by defining your niche and saying, this is who I serve. This is the ideal customer range. And you, my competitor, you get a different one. But these are the people that I can serve best, and the more I serve them, the better I know them, and the closer my connection. So that's what I think of as checkmate, not like going around decimating, but dominating a market that you define through engagement and continued sharing of value. So, Tim, I hope that was helpful.
Yes.
Good. So if for you and anyone else who's interested, I want to talk very briefly about Virtual Camp Checkmate. It's going to be on the same time as this webinar and the afternoon webinar, so 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, from November 6th to December 18th. Those are all Tuesdays. And I'm promising 7 weeks that will totally transform your business. And I just want to say what you're not going to get. There's going to be no live lectures. So I'm using a different platform than GoToWebinar, where you're going to, it's a flipped classroom. You're going to watch video, read on your own time. It's going to be about 15 to 45 minutes per week, including homework. So you're going to come to the live classes prepared, and we're actually going to roll up our sleeves and get things done. And the homework is designed to do two things: to give you mastery over the techniques. So I hope it was helpful for other people to work on Tim's business, because it's easier to help someone else than to help yourself. That's how you develop mastery. You do easier things. You can see it's much easier to see opportunities for other people than to see them for yourself. And then the second part of the homework is going to be to implement them in your business. And the live classes I'm calling tumblers, like the rock tumblers where you put these unpolished gems in and they bump against each other. They interactive with each other, and they come out brilliantly polished and shining and unique. And so the tumblers themselves will be arguing about stuff, trying to convince each other of what's the proper approach here. We're going to be in small groups, really working on solving problems and developing this kind of mastery, so that whether you do this for your own business or you start doing it for clients, you can go in to any competitive situation and immediately start seeing opportunities. So these tools are really meant to help you develop that part of your brain that sees opportunities where other people just see a closed market. The syllabus, we're going to spend a week on the Checkmate matrix, really going through it, much more detail than we did here. A week on the ideal customer avatar with sort of in-depth exercises. The next time we're going to talk about search triggers and landing page headlines. So in this case, the search trigger was the Yoga Journal article at the optometrist office. When we think about what triggered the search, that can help us write specific headlines on the landing page. Then we're going to talk about the fears, doubts, and objections that are inherent in search the things that make people say no when they really want to say yes, and how we discover those and deal with them. The next week is taking those objections and learning how to craft and to ask for testimonials that respond to them better than anything that we could say. Then we're going to, we've already created for you, Tim, a whole bunch of different ads, and it's important to know how to test them as efficiently as possible. Because the more efficient you are at testing, the faster you're going to learn, and the faster you'll have the best ads up at the top. So we're going to work on the testing plan, and everyone's going to come away with their own testing plan. And then the final thing is, if you're really in a hurry, there is a twist to Checkmate that I call it's the 80-20 Checkmate, where you can do it quick and dirty in a very short time, and it can give you 80% of the results with 20% of the time and effort. And if you're interested, it's at campcheckmate.com. You're going to get killer ad ideas you would never have come up with on your own. And I didn't come up with the ads that we gave to Tim on my own. We did it. We don't have to create desire. They're already there because of desire. So I think it's one of the biggest mistakes we make on landing pages is we try to create desire. All we have to do is get out of the way and make sure we're fanning it so it doesn't go out. Ways to handle the most insidious objections, the one you didn't even know about. Competitive strategies, the no-guessing testing plan, and really what we're talking about is a burst of liberating creativity. I realize this is not a meditation seminar in the Adirondacks. It's in the confines of your own home and your own mind, but the way these activities and these exercises work, they're designed to get you out of your own head so that the intuitive parts of your brain can have a little bit of free reign. And you'll find the best thinking you do is going to be about other people's businesses, and likewise, you're going to get the benefit of their thinking about your business. My policy on everything I sell is I'm obligated, you're not. If you don't like it, you get your money back. All you got to do is show up, participate, be open to new ideas, and be willing to share ideas with others. And then it's game on. So a bunch of people, several hundred at this point, have experienced bits of Camp Checkmate live. Perry Marshall said this was brilliant, and almost everyone in the room did experience a breakthrough, including me. I beat a long-standing Google Control ad. I remember that. That was an awesome day. Drayton Bird just flew me to London a couple weeks ago to teach this. He says, I've seen many people around the world try to teach people how to sell things, but Howie enables you to do this in a supremely well in a way that is almost childishly simple but hugely effective. Bless him. I have that on video too. Andrew Collier says, this is the most profound exercise I've ever done to try to understand my customer or client and how to come up with ways to market specifically to them. Ben Moskal, who makes a ton of money as an affiliate, he actually left the seminar to go up to his hotel room and crank out some ads. He had that can't sleep at night and got to get out there and test it and get it online feeling. Robert Middleton, I'm a big fan of his work, says it was one of the best seminars he's ever attended. Bob Baer had 6 creative ads written by other people. Most seminars you remember about 10%, but in this case I walked away with something on paper that is of value to me. That's the whole goal here. I don't care if you remember none of it, as long as by the time you leave you can do it. So the cost, the actual Camp Checkmate early bird is $9.97, so that's how I pitched this. That's how I thought of it in terms of basically similar value. $9.97. Instead of 2 full days, it's over 7 weeks. So obviously, there's some pluses and minuses about that. But I really want to fill the seats. So I'm offering an early bird special. If I can fill all the seats on this, I will be very happy. I don't need to be greedy. Basically, 3 monthly payments of $197. And I'm not offering any big bonuses here like the giant value bill, no bonus ebooks, PDFs, old MP3s sitting on my computer that I give a fancy name to and then tell you how much they're worth. And, I want you to stay focused on Checkmate. if it's, I feel like this pretty much stands or falls on its own. So if you're in a competitive market, if doubling your sales, which is, I feel like doubling your sales is a very achievable goal. I'll stand by that. And or at least doubling your sales from the channel that we're working, whether it's AdWords or wherever else you apply this. If that's worth more than $600, and again, it's not overnight, it's not even in a month, but say within the 3-month period, if you can't double your sales, I'd be surprised. If you're willing to give feedback, willing to receive feedback, if you're available on Tuesdays, 1 p.m. or 8 p.m., I'm doing it twice, except for the first Tuesday, November 6th, that's Election Day in the United States, so I'm also offering it on 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Thursday, so 4 times that first week. And you've got to be fascinated by human nature, because this is not AdWords by the numbers. This is not AdWords about the technical aspects of the medium. This is about human beings and what makes us tick. And it's not about what makes us tick in terms of how do we manipulate people, but it's how do we help people reconnect with their purpose, with their selves, with how whatever this search is, no matter how trivial or how important, it's part of the big picture of their lives. And all of us spend a lot of time saying no to things that we wish we could say yes to. So someone, I don't think it was Louis Armstrong, said most men lead lives of quiet desperation. That was Thoreau as well. And every search is a chance for someone to say yes to something other than quiet desperation. And we want to be the person who can provide them with the impetus to start saying more yeses and fewer nos to the things that matter. So I do want to offer a couple of bonuses, but they're very specifically targeted towards this, and they're going to occur after we go through the 7 modules. One module, a bonus module, is crafting your unique selling proposition, your USP. And I have the word naturally there, because most of the time when people tell us to craft a USP, it's a very artificial process, like we're just sort of riveting something onto a business and it doesn't really fit. They'll say, look at Domino's Pizza, 30 minutes or less, hot and fresh in 30 minutes, or it's free. You got to do something like that. Or FedEx absolutely positively has to be there overnight. And then we end up coming up with something heroic that really doesn't fit. And you'll find after 7 weeks of virtual Camp Checkmate that the USP is something that can, sort of fit you like a garment, as opposed to doing it just because somebody says you have to. And the last part is the visionary business improvement that I talked about at the beginning. How do you take these ads? Suppose, Tim, I'm suspecting that from our work with Raven, you might have some ideas about what to do on the meditation retreat that might be a little bit different than what you were thinking earlier. You might put things in a different order.
Absolutely.
You might frame them differently. You might add completely new things. I don't know, is that accurate?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at that point, we're talking about not just your marketing, but actually improving your business, the inside, the delivery. And so if you sign up today, and by today I actually mean by, I'll give you till the 18th of October. That's 2 days from today, in case someone missed the end of this and they're watching the rebroadcast. I'm going to have 3 months of support with a secret Facebook group where you can post additional questions. Now you're applying it for yourself or for clients, and you want some help from the group and from me. And we'll do one coaching call a month where I'm not going to prepare anything, but you're just going to come with your questions, and we'll just, just like Tim and I worked on stuff, we'll all work on stuff together. So that would be 3 extra months of support for people who sign up by the 18th. So the page that will take you there is campcheckmate.com. This is the last slide, so I'm not going to click out of it. So before we sign off completely, are there any questions about the course where you're not sure and I can quickly answer something? If so, just type it, and I'll do my best to answer it. And I do know there's some people on this call who have attended actual camp checkmates in the past. I don't know if anyone wants to kind of share what you got out of it. John, you will. All right. I think, John, your audio is off. I see your telephone is great, but yeah, I appreciate the offer. You know what? I shared some testimonials. I think this is good stuff, and if you don't like it, you get your money back. So I'm gonna end there. I want to thank everybody so much for sticking with me through this 75-minute webinar. Tim, thank you so much for putting your own business up there and going out on the line. I appreciate it.
The help.
And I just want to say, you know, I hope you can hear in my voice that I enjoy teaching and that I enjoy helping people market and think about their businesses and make the world a better place. And you know, when you attend webinars like this and when you sign up for my courses, you enable me to do this for a living. So I'm grateful and humbled by that. And I wish you all a good night, good week, and I look forward to seeing
And this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.